Welcome to Follow Your Joy podcast, where intuition is the doorway to your elevated creativity, more joy, and prosperity. I'm your host, Marla Diane, and I've been living an intuitive life for decades as a creative. That translates to transforming creative entrepreneurs' lives for over 27 years through two businesses as a business strategist and a life designer. And prior to that, an entertainment publicist and talent manager. Follow Your Joy is an entrepreneurial resource for creatives sharing their challenge to victory stories through the lens of listening to their intuition. It's time to make joy your inner GPS for life and business decisions rather than lean on your logic and reason first. You'll not only be following what is most authentic for you, but you will live the beautiful life meant just for you. Want to learn how to access, trust, or up-level your intuition? Join me in the conversation to find out how. Well, hello, creatives. So, as entrepreneurs, you know that there's always a gift in the challenge. We just need to remind ourselves of that when the SHIT hits the fan and things go sideways, right? Well, my guest today is no different, and she is a glowing example of courage and resilience and belief during her fallout when she lost her entire real estate business and found herself nearly $500,000 in debt. Yikes. So with over 20 years of experience and more than $47 million in sales under her belt, Laura Wright is passionate about supporting women to master the art of sales in a way that feels good, right? And gets amazing results. So she calls herself an epic sales business coach. She's a founder of Epic at Sales, and she's proud to be a brass tacks coach, right? Working with high-achieving service-based professionals and business owners, women, desiring to break through what I call their glass ceiling of income and revenues, and without, and this is something I also stand by and coach, without the burnout factor, to the best of our ability, instead feeling amplified and expansive that aligns with their soul, right? Rather than a logical, linear focus. You need to have a blend, everybody, of that. And with us women, and we'll talk about this today, with us women, it's our power is our intuition. Our power is from the neck down, right? So I'm a big believer of blending the masculine, and this is a principle, not a gender, the masculine and the feminine, especially in running a business and sales, or I should say revenue generating activities, is that we've got to go with that intuition so that we're also leaning back and receiving as much as we're doing and giving, right? So her mission is to help brilliant-minded women who truly thrive on monetizing what I call their zone of genius talents, right? So Laura helps them navigate and transform their business model from the hustle, right, massive action approach to seamlessly scaling. Love that, seamlessly scaling to a seven-figure business and beyond. And she says, you don't need to work twice as hard to make twice as much. That is a great tagline. So it's my pleasure, Laura, to welcome you to the podcast.
Thank you, Marla. I am so happy to be here. I know that you and I have so much in common in who we want to serve and how we want to serve them. So I'm excited to give a lot of value today and just really dive in.
Right. Wonderful. Okay. So why don't let's have you share some of the highlights kind of your journey, the connecting of the dots So, and even more importantly, what happened in your life that led you to teaching, right, this epic sales theme? Because we always teach something that comes from our own, right, challenges in our life and passions. So, give us the connecting of the dots to where you are today.
Yeah, so it was really interesting. I remember working with a coach when I actually came up with the name of my company, Epic at Sales.
Mhm.
And part of how it came out is we were just talking about my journey. And one of the things she says, she's like, "Well, Laura, you are epic at sales." And I was like, I think that might be my company name. But part of what was really important about it is sales has been the through line that has supported me in my entire life and in my entire business. So, yes, I am the natural salesperson. I remember, I didn't have like the little stand for lemonade when I was a kid, but I was pretty close to it. But when I was in college, I remember having this person, a professor, who said to me, because I went to school for art, which is very interesting. I have a degree in sculpture. And he said to me, when I asked the question, how am I going to make money with this degree? He said, one, you're going to need to become rich and famous as an artist, and you won't. Or two, you need to marry a rich man.
Okay, hold on a minute.
Yeah.
Hold on, repeat that again.
Yeah. So his advice to me to make money as an artist was to become rich and famous, and I wouldn't, or I needed to go marry a rich man so that
Oh,
I could
Lord.
basically play at art. I will tell you, I left his office, but I am grateful for what he said because it activated a business prowess in me that made me decide to go figure out how I was going to make money. So
Mm.
over the next few years, a very fun point in my story is when I was in college, I went and bought a house. I basically did a little trick with my family where I said, "Hey, you're going to spend a lot of money paying for me to have housing at school, or you could just give me like $8,000. And if I found a house, could I buy it?" And I don't think they knew that I had already found the house. But this is an important part of the story because with this house, after I left art school, I decided to build a real estate investment company. And what I did was I sold my asset, one house, and I turned it into 7 rental properties right away. And then I built an entire multi-million dollar real estate investment company around it. And the way that we did things differently than every other investor out there is my business partner was my mom. We were two women
Mhm.
doing the thing that all the guys did. And what we did instead of hustling and instead of forcing things, we'd sit down and have conversations with people. And we would really genuinely connect with them, find out what they needed. And we did over 100 properties in 5 years, both renovations and rentals. And through that point, I also ended up starting to do teaching and training, coaching other women to invest in real estate. And then 2008 happened.
Ah.
And with the 2008 crisis, I lost my entire business.
Mm.
And I basically found myself a little bit unemployable. And so I did what a lot of people do. And I went and hired myself a coach to help me figure out what I was going to do. And side note, you said it in my bio, but I was insane amounts of debt, like no revenue. Like I can say it now from a distance, but it was a really dark place. And I remember talking with this woman who had hired me, and I said something about her sales process that stuck with her. And so she proceeded to actually hire me to come in and help her start to set appointments. And in 2 years, I came inside of her business and we took her from 250,000 a year to 1.2 million in less than 2 years.
Whew.
And I
Wow.
then decided, I know it was one of those moments where you're like, things are working. It was all based on sales. And so what we then did was I realized I couldn't just do this for one person.
Mm.
And I started doing done for you sales for other coaches. And I kind of hit a wall and realized I was burning out. Because if you've ever done a lot of heavy lifting work to provide for your family, you can only work so many hours. You can only
Right.
do so much. And I knew I had to leverage what I was doing. I also knew that just doing Laura magic and making sales happen for other people wasn't actually helping them.
Mhm.
So I got rid of all of my done for you clients. I basically burned all my bridges, burned all the boats. I moved my family up to New York. We tripled our expenses, and I spent 1 month selling for myself, my own coaching services. And in 1 month, I brought on 13 new clients. I put 10K in the bank right away. But more importantly, I booked out over 136,000 and it changed my life. And so why I bring these stories to the forefront is because I've been in those spots where I've had nothing and sales is what saves my life. When
Mm,
you can have the skill mastery of knowing how to sell, you can reinvent yourself, you can put money in your bank account, and most importantly, you can do the work that you actually want to do because everyone wants to be in business so that they can serve their clients. And if you don't have sales, then you can't serve your clients. And that's why it's important to me.
that's it's almost like I don't even know what to say about that story. It's really phenomenal. I mean, obviously you were born with this talent. I mean, this is I call it the IntelliKey, of your life. Because are you familiar with IntelliKey
I'm
at all?
not.
It's a metaphysical term for really kind of purpose. In other words, okay, the IntelliKey of an acorn is a big, strong, robust oak tree. So
It's
the
what you're going to
seed within
become.
you was
Hmm.
cells of different types, but apparently you have that it factor of sales, which then, I mean, it answers my question. It's like, connect the dots? What's led you to what you're teaching? Well, you were meant to do this.
I do believe that's true. And you know what I love about it too? I
Mhm,
actually know this exists in every woman. And
mhm,
it's part of why I designed my formula for sales. It's
mhm.
not one size fits all, it's not scripts. It's really a formula. And everyone who follows it, it is meant to be customized to that person. And that's why it actually works. So I love that you identify that because I always say it. Yes, I am a natural born salesperson. I
Yeah,
know how to do that, but I can show everyone else how to become that and feel it too.
yeah. In other words, bring it out of them.
Hmm.
Yeah, that they have it, maybe lying dormant, or they were never really, nurtured, taught to use that skill.
Hmm.
Right. And you're the one to, it's like you're a midwife, you're the one
Hmm.
to birth it, right? Help birth it for them, that it's already in them. So back to that seed, the IntelliKey is that whatever that seed is. But yeah, for sure. Your seed is sales and helping transform lives, through that. So awesome. I love that story. So, okay. Um, follow your joy, right? So, what brings you the most joy in
Mm.
your business and what you're doing?
So it's really interesting. I had one of my team members say something when she started working with me, and she's like, Laura, I've never seen this before. You get the same excitement when we make a $47 sale as we do when we make a $47,000 sale. So I
Oh,
will say, making sales gives me joy because I know what comes on the other side of it. It's that I get to help a client. But I will also say my very, very favorite thing in business is when my new clients get their first win. There is something that is the most transformative. I was thinking about one of my gals. She is a new to me client. She has never done sales before. In her business, it's always been somebody else has been doing it. And she and her husband have rebuilt a new venture. And she did her first 4 sales calls she's ever done in her life. And she closed one new client. And that's everything because what it did was it proved to her that she can do this. It's
mhm.
going to give her the confidence to go do more of it. But also, it was so early on. We had only been working together for less than a week when this happened. And that boost for her is going to buoy her because sometimes things are easy and sometimes things are hard. And we need to have those sparks of joy that we can hold on to when things do get hard so that
Sure.
we can keep going.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So by watching, witnessing, right, that confidence factor build is what brings you joy.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, so and therein lies everybody why we love to coach.
Mhm. It's true.
I mean, to be a part of somebody's, evolving evolution, their journey, and have a guidance hand in that. I mean, it's just, yeah, you gotta love humanity to be a coach. You
Mm-hmm.
gotta love that whole transformational process, so yeah, I hear you. That's good stuff. Okay, so let's talk about intuition.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of kind of the theme to not only obviously how I operate in life and in business and coach it, but it's, again, the purpose of the podcast is, what's when I share, with people, what is it about the podcast? And well, it's struggle to victory stories of entrepreneurs, right? From the lens of their intuition, right?
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, what was it about their intuition that led them down their path in which they're doing? So let's have you share, what is that story, right, of yours, that intuitive hunch, nudge that said, do this, and you created an amazing result.
Yeah, I have to tell you, I use my intuition for almost everything.
Right.
And I find that every time I follow it, and sometimes I call it my gut, I think everyone feels it in a different place in their body. It almost always results. And I think about a few different ones.
Mhm.
So, one, and it was a pretty recent one, about a year and a half ago, I had a former client who she popped up in my mind. And I always pay attention when I'm like, doing something like I'm something mundane, like taking a shower, or washing the dishes, or like walking my dogs. And I think of somebody. And every time that happens, I reach out to them. And so I just sent her a little, "Hey, how are you?" message. And she goes, "You're freaking me out. I was literally just about to message you."
Oh.
She had been attempting to get pregnant, her and her husband, and they had finally done that. And she was going to message me and tell me, because when I started working with her, she hadn't met, I think she had like just met him at the tail end. So to have like that journey of them falling in love, getting married, going through the process, actually having a baby. But what was really, really interesting about it, when she said that, she's like, "And the reason why I was going to reach out to you was not just to celebrate this, but
Mhm.
she's like, I think I need to hire you again, because I don't know how to run my business and take time off for maternity leave." And so that little tiny nudge turned into a $60,000 contract. So I want you all to hear, like, nudges can do a lot of different things. Following your intuition. I will say the coach that I hired first, that helped me get into this field that I'm now doing, that was an intuition, because in paper it made no sense. She literally offered me $400 a month
Yeah.
to schedule sales calls for her. That didn't even cover our grocery bill.
400
Like, it was one of those things.
months. You said a month, not a
A
week,
month.
not a day, but a month.
Nope. A month.
And this was 2008?
2008.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah. And so, why I say I listened to my intuition on it, there was something in me that said, say yes, even though it doesn't make sense.
Okay.
And
Mhm.
that really was a catalyst moment in my life. The work that we ended up doing together informed all of what I do now. I went from the $400 a month to making $6,000 a month with her within about maybe 6 or 8 months. So that increased. But more importantly, I started to rebuild my confidence. So I cannot underestimate the power of listening to your intuition over your logic.
Yep. Oh man, in fact, when you said, and this is just drives it home. So I mean, the stories are endless, right? They're just endless, which is why I love focusing on it. But when you said, right, even though it doesn't make sense, and that's the point, everybody, is intuition is not supposed to make sense. Don't let your logical brain, which we love, but that's not the place for it, is that it's never supposed to make sense. It's literally that, almost like the Jiminy Cricket on your shoulder, right? I don't know if
Yes.
some of you listening, young ones, may understand what that means, but
I know exactly what you're talking
go
about
watch
from Disney.
Pinocchio. Go watch Disney's Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket on your shoulder. But that's what intuition is, right? Is intuition, ladies, is not meant to be logical, make sense, And so if you ever, and exactly what you did, if you ever get in a place in any moment that your intuition is nudging you to do something and you go, what? That makes no sense. What? No, do it.
I agree
That right
wholeheartedly.
there is a symptom of an intuitive hunch that you need to do,
Mhm.
right?
I like I like to say it's like this. Your logic mind is taking facts from the past and trying to predict the future.
That's right.
Your
Perfect.
intuition
Yeah.
is the future pulling you forward.
Ah,
So you should always go
beautiful.
for the future pulling you forward if you want to go into the future versus allowing the past, because the past will just replicate itself. So that's why intuition
Beautiful.
is so important.
Ah, I couldn't have said it better. In fact, I'm pulling that quote right out of this interview and using it. No, that's really exactly it. Is yeah, our mind is a recording machine, right? Our brain, and it you must obviously have it, but not when you're making future forward decisions, because it's not meant to put you in the future. That's why our imagination, right, and all the manifesting skills that you need to learn, it's all about visioning in the future, because your mind can't do it. You need to tell your mind how to think, not let it be default to tell you what to think,
I
right?
agree with that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, 100%. Oh my God, look at us. I know, it's so great. I love it, when you find somebody that really, really understands this. So yeah, beautifully said. Hello there. So we'll pause, right, for just a moment. We'll get back to our conversation after I acknowledge our sponsor of today's episode, which is Create Cohort, my 90-day signature program where I teach an intimate group of creative women entrepreneurs not only how to achieve their one-year goals in 90 days, but how to do it by listening to their intuition and bypassing the default of logic and linear thinking as they manifest quicker results. Huh? So being intuitive is an art. Learning to listen to it is your best asset in business. Why? Because it takes you out of your logical linear thinking first, right? And directs you to what is best for you and your highest good with a positive outcome. Imagine that in business, having a bigger percentage of the decisions you make are a positive outcome because you've chosen to listen to your intuition. So, obviously, I aspire for you to build that relationship or deepen that relationship with your intuition and how to literally achieve your goals, I should say your top goals and your top desires in a much quicker way. So come be a part of this intimate group of women entrepreneurs who thrive on supporting one another in their intuition, their creativity, their zone of genius, and higher, more consistent revenues. So by May 10th, registration the early rate will be ending. And by May 15th, we'll be closing the doors. It starts May 22nd and runs through July 31st. You can get all the details by using the link below in the show notes. And if you have any questions, more than happy to have a conversation with you. Go ahead and use my Calendly link in the show notes, and we'll have a chat to be able to go through how this is a fit for you or not. All right? Very good. So thank you. And now back to my guest and our inspiring conversation. Bye now. Because I was going to ask you, what do you attribute that 250,000 to the 1.2 million? You just answered it. It's just the way that you operate.
I will also say this. I love helping women, especially, ask for more, because I think this is the biggest key, is that there's this thing that happens where the underselling, over serving, over delivering exhaustion shows up. And
Mm,
so, quite frequently, what I love to do with my clients is help them see that they're just not actually asking for enough, both of themselves and from their clients, and they're not receiving enough. They are always over giving, but I don't try to help them not over give. I just want to help them properly price what they're doing, because
nice.
I think that also starts to change their lives. And this is like, you'll probably understand this. Why I'm able to listen to my intuition is because my body's not in a scrambly place. And there's all this chatter of like, I
Right.
got to make money. I got to make money. I got to get clients, and I'm freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
When you are like whole and soothed, you can hear those little nudges. And so the first thing I like to do with my clients is get them solid with their revenue. Because when your revenue is all the way solid, you start making better choices. You can make longer term smart choices instead of just being in a scramble space. So that's why I think it's so important to be able to, revenue solves a lot of things, but what it really helps you do is quiet the chatter so you can
Mm,
listen to your intuition and then do the activities that really bring you joy.
yeah. Yeah, everything gets very, it gets quiet. It gets
Hmm.
quiet, and what happens, and I love this conversation, it opens up, and this goes to the feminine masculine, it opens up the feminine, if you will, space of creativity, expansion, connection. Everything gets quiet when you got the money in the bank, being
Hmm.
rewarded for your purpose, being rewarded for what you love to do, especially women honoring their worth, honoring their value, which we have not been taught typically how to do. So yeah, everything gets very kind of peaceful so that you have that room for ideas and creativity, right? And you're not in that, like you said, that scrambling, frenetic energy mode.
Hmm.
So yeah, love that. Creative space. I know. Creative space. Good stuff. Love that. So, okay. So Doc, as part of this, you said the best part of then building your own seven-figure business was that it was the catalyst for you to get married.
Yes, I know.
What's that story about?
I was like, how long do you have? Okay, so like many out there, I did not have a good representation of the marriage model. And so I really didn't want to get married in what the traditional sense was. And I met this amazing man who is now my husband. And we had actually been together for 8 years. And I used to call him my forever man, because boyfriend when you're in your like 30s doesn't sound the same as like when you're in your teenage years.
Okay.
But what really happened was I realized I was at a retreat, and we were talking about the things that were holding us back, like mindset, just diving into different things. And one of the things that came up was basically my feelings around the word commitment. And
Mm.
while I am a playful on go do big things, like really, really go for it, commitment was something that I couldn't commit to. Are you allowed to say it like that? Commitment was a commitment hard. So I did this exercise where, and it's funny because I did this at an event where they're like, never tell anybody you did this, but it's a great story. So you write down the thing that is holding you back on this arrow, and then you break the arrow with your neck. And the way that it is somebody holds the arrow up to your neck, and you just move your body forward, and the arrow snaps, and you like break through it. And here's what happened in my story.
Yeah.
So I wrote down commitment, and I was there with some of my business partners from the real estate business. And you go and you do it. And the first time I do it, everybody does it and it breaks. I try to break the arrow with my neck, which is a little nuts. It doesn't break. And they did that whole thing where, like, this is how it's meant to be, however it happens. And I'm like, nope, nope, I'm going to break this thing. So I go and try to do it a second time and it won't break. And they're like, see, this is how it's meant to be. And I'm like, nope. I did it a third time and it didn't break. And then they're like, you can't try again. And in fact, my business partner at the time was like, I can't hurt you. Like if this goes into your neck, this is bad. And I was like, I know I can do it. And so I fourth try broke through. And what it really actually was, it was such a great metaphor of I was actually turning commitment into from a static thing into an action word.
Huh.
So what I did is I redefined commitment for myself. It is actually an action.
Huh.
I recommit, basically, is the best way to say it, to everything that's in our lives every day. And when I came home from that event, my husband and I ended up getting married like 2 months later because I realized that I could step into that space of commitment. And maybe that was the one thing that was holding me back. And so, me being able to say yes, it all happened probably within about a 4 or 5 month radius of me saying yes to the position that made no sense for $400, going to this event, breaking the arrow, really connecting to commitment,
Mhm.
and then us getting married. And what it did was it changed how I functioned. I also changed my business structure. I made a commitment to talk about sales basically from now until the end of time.
Mhm.
And whenever you're starting a new business and you're like, am I this? Am I that? Here's my ideal client. Everybody always changes.
Yeah.
And what I did was I made the commitment to pick something and stick with it until it worked. And that is what really grew my business, grew my family. We ended up having a little munchkin, and that was 13 years ago because he's about to be 13, so 14 years ago
Oh.
almost. And it really changed my life to be able to understand commitment is every day I can reassess what's around me, I can redefine it, and I can stay in strong commitment. And that is how you can be a great business owner, how you can be a great partner, a great parent, is staying in commitment.
Is this part of your coaching?
Sometimes
No,
I bring it up a little bit.
pardon me?
I do bring it up a bit, but it's that thing of like, how do you keep going when things are hard? It's when you use commitment and redefine it.
That's what I'm saying is as I'm sitting here listening to this, right, as obviously as a coach, but I put myself in the position of being the receiver of this info. I'm like, I hope she's teaching this. In other words, when you said a bet, I would honestly make that a very core part of your coaching.
I love that you just said that. What's really interesting is, and this is so not a plug moment, I have a book that I wrote that
Oh,
is all these little lessons that I teach. And I put it out back in 2017, and we're actually considering redoing it as an audio book
oh,
because it's all these little lessons and techniques. Like we have a thing that we call, my husband and I call it right style because our last name is right.
oh,
But all these
right.
little isms, and in my business we call them laws because my initials are LAW. And when I was writing the book, the copy editor was like, why does this say law after everything? And I'm like, because that's my initials, because I was signing off that I'd completed these. And she's like, no, 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 these are laws. So we have things like everything always works out for the rights. That's what we say. And I teach my clients this. Like when you have that mindset that everything is going to work out for you,
Yeah.
what you start having happen is that everything starts working out. So I have like 50 of these little laws that we use inside of my business.
Oh my goodness. And so you are going to circle back and revise this, turn it into an audio.
Because we have it as you can get it on Amazon book and we have a PDF, but one of my clients publishes books and she's been doing a lot of audio books as well. And another one of my clients does a lot of private podcasts and they both made recommendations that this would be a really good
Yeah.
audio file.
Yeah. Okay. So you have a client that specializes in the Amazon selling books on Amazon.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
we
And
need to talk.
I will happily put you guys in touch because she
I
is
need to
phenomenal.
talk to her. It's on my list.
Hmm.
Wow. And so you right now have a PDF, like an ebook
Hmm.
on
Yep,
Amazon with this?
I do.
Okay, we need to put this in the show notes because I'm gonna go buy it.
Okay. I will tell you all about it and I will show you how to get to it. It's funny, I didn't
Yeah,
even lead
no,
with it.
please. Let's have the link so I can put it in the show notes. And I personally would like to have it. I think it
Mm,
sounds amazing. I mean, because the whole commitment thing, I mean, fabulous, really fabulous story about it is it connects. It's a common theme for you and for a lot of people that
mhm,
once you're able to break through, and this is how I'm listening to this, is while you're able to break through on that commitment, issue, whatever you want to call that, I mean, it just goes through your whole entire life.
How you do anything is how you do
Yes, of
everything.
course, right? It's
Mhm.
the rising tide lifts all ships. So
I say that one all the time. That's so
yeah,
funny. I say no ship sinks on my watch and a rising tide lifts
lifts
all
all
boats.
ships, always. Yeah, always, always. So yeah, the whole commitment thing, when you apply it to relationships, that's why I wanted to talk a little bit more about it, because many of us, thousands of us, have that challenge, and we may not realize how deep it is. We may not realize. I mean, I literally was sitting here taking notes, going,
Mhm.
commitment, marriage,
Mhm.
commitment, relationships.
Mhm.
I mean, I applied it to my own life, and that's why I want to get that book.
Mhm.
So very, very helpful. Yeah,
Thank you.
would definitely want to research more of that commitment level, everybody, to everything that you do. Right?
Absolutely.
Not a bad idea to do.
Mhm.
Kind of circle back to every part of your life. Where's your commitment level, and what's the results that you have? So yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Okay, so then based on, to kind of, finish this up, based on your years of experience, right? Give us some, additional new key advice,
Mhm.
right? One or two points that the creatives, the entrepreneurs can take away
So,
with.
number one, keep it simple. People overcomplicate offers. And when there's a lot of friction over complication, buyers will not buy. I always like to say this. I have $100,000 package that I sell. I have varying in other ones, but this one,
Yeah.
I jokingly say it literally has one thing in it, like one thing. It's my time, and it's a VIP day, and we meet. It's custom curated one-on-one, so we meet as frequently or as infrequently as we need, because my highest level clients actually don't need a lot.
Right.
They need to have on the spot support.
Yeah.
When you start to overcomplicate your offers, confused minds cannot buy. So keep it simple. The next thing is this: whatever price you are selling your services for, there is somebody out there who's selling it for 20 to 100 times more. You don't only have to sell high ticket, but my highest recommendation to every single one of my clients, and I say this to everyone, you do need to have high ticket offers within your offer stack. And anytime that you can, selling high ticket long term gives you an income runway. And again, that gives you the spaciousness to make better decisions. So it is easier to sell
Mhm.
$100,000 program versus finding 1,000 people to
No.
sell $1,000 program to.
Yeah, 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 of course. Oh, right. There's lots of golden nuggets, everybody. Really good stuff. And you can tell, those of you that are watching on YouTube, and you can see Laura smiling. I mean, it's just, it's so natural for you. I mean, the energy about it and how you share it is, yeah. Go take a look on YouTube if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple, and look at her face.
I'm a happy person.
She's a happy, happy camper around this. It just feels very natural for you. Oh, right. Well, terrific. Then how can my listeners get in touch with you? What do you want to offer? All that good stuff.
All the things. So the thing that I love to give, and it's a gift, is on my website. So it's laurawrightofficial.com/gift.
Okay.
And what this gift is, it's an overcoming objections PDF. And the reason why I love to lead with this is if you are having sales conversations, but you're not closing the way that you really want to, I want to show you how to help walk people through resistance and overcome objections, because it's not, I don't do anything salesy or slimy. What it literally is you being prepared for someone to have resistance
Okay.
and you knowing how to guide them through, so you become allies as opposed to adversaries on a sales call. And
Nice.
when you can feel comfortable, what I've noticed most women in sales, you are worried about what might happen. And I just want to eliminate that worry. So it has my 5 steps to yes, so you know how to host a sales conversation that doesn't even really have objections. And then it's a 28-page PDF. I think it's pretty hefty. So you can know all the ways around how to walk someone through that resistance so that they will be in a space to make decision, whether it's yes or no, or I need more information, and you can make more sales.
Yeah, that is super valuable.
It is.
Yeah, wonderful. All right, everyone. So that'll be in the show notes. And then, of course, people can follow you Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn,
Mhm.
right? All that.
And message me. I'm a real live human being. I actually respond to messages and DMs. And when people ask questions, I answer them. So please do connect with me.
Okay, on any one of those platforms. Yeah,
Yes.
terrific. Oh, I love it. All right. Well, thank you. This is, this could definitely have gone on longer, but really valuable information. Thank you for being here. Right.
Thank you.
And there's like mic drop moments here. Right. And again, especially the one about intuition that, again, it just doesn't make sense, and it's not supposed to, everybody. So please, on your journeys, daily, weekly, monthly, annually, I and Laura want to encourage you to please listen to that intuition, right? And I coach this, right? How to listen, right? Listen to the podcast. Also, lots of places to find that info on how to go about really honoring your intuition. And along with that is, of course, following your joy, right? Because it is not just a good feeling. It literally is a life and a business strategy. When you follow your joy, success leaves clues. And it's through the feeling and emotion of joy, right? Amen. Okay, everybody. Thanks so much for listening in. Be well, be blessed, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Take care. Hey, thanks for listening. You can find more entrepreneurial stories and resources at marladiane.com. And while you're there, enjoy my free downloads to up-level your business and your life. And Instagram. It's my favorite place to hang out. Let's connect there. If you received inspiration from the episode, I'd sure appreciate a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify. Until next episode, take care.